Hello and welcome to day 27 of Yoga for Tarrant County College. My name is Eli Khan. Thank you for taking the time to join me today. We will begin in our standing mountain pose, focusing on our breath. Palms are facing forward, shoulders are relaxed away from our ears. Traditional yogis will have their feet completely touching. I choose more of a contemporary approach with my feet about a sits bones distance apart. We're letting go of thoughts of the past. We're letting go of thoughts of the future. Finding ourselves in this present breath, in this present moment. The next time we breathe in, we lengthen our arms up and overhead. As we breathe out, dropping one arm down for an activated standing lateral flexion. Breathe in, both arms go back up. Breathe out as we laterally flex over to the other side. It's okay if your pace is faster or slower than mine. We're listening to our bodies, we're breathing, and we're feeling. Anytime we're in a standing position, avoid locking or hyperextending your knees. Try to keep just a slight micro bend to allow for circulation, blood flow. Also reminding ourselves to breathe. A lot of times we'll start some choreography and we'll start to hold on to our breath, or maybe when we hold static stretches, we might hold on to our breath as well, reminding ourselves to breathe out as much as we breathe in. The next time we breathe in, let's keep both arms elevated up and overhead. The next time we breathe out, we release our hands and our energy to our heart center. Returning to our standing mountain pose, activated chair, breathe in, lengthening arms up and overhead. Breathe out as we bend our knees into our chair. Breathe in when we lengthen back up. Breathe out as we sink into our chair. Some of us can fold our knees deeper than others. Go to your personal range of motion that works best for your body. One breath, one movement, body and mind working together. Breath and movement matching. To make this more challenging, as you fold those knees, you can raise biceps by ears. To make it less challenging, you can rest your hands to your thighs. Possibly elevating heels as you fold those knees, resting heels as you stand. You could try to keep your heels elevated the whole time. Ooh, yeah, not going to work for me. I'm going to definitely drop my heels down as I lift into my extended mountain. Maybe raise those heels as I squat down into my yoga chair. Still trying to breathe through the nose at all times during our yoga session. The next time we breathe in, let's keep our arms elevated up and overhead. Breathing out as we release hands and energy to our heart center. Preparing to take a wide sunflower stance. Breathe in, lengthening arms up and overhead. Breathe out as we gather our imaginary sunflowers. Some of us, again, can take a deeper fold at the knee joint than others, going to our own perfect pace. Also, the condition of our inner thighs might affect our ability to squat down lower or not today as well. The condition of your back is another factor. One breath, one movement, body and mind working together. Breath and movement matching. The next time we breathe in, we keep our arms elevated up and overhead. Breathing out to release our hands to our heart center. Keeping our legs wide, hands to thighs, hinge the heart center forward. Standing cat-cow. Breathe out, round our mid-back, drop our head. Breathe in, arch through the low back and send the eye gaze slightly upward. Breathing out as we round. Breathing in as we arch. Creating a C-curve shape with our spine. in 2 opposing directions. Let's return to a neutral spine. Breathe and lengthen those arms up and overhead. Breathing out as we release hands and energy to our heart center. The beginning and the ending of a sun salutation. Keeping ourselves up onto our feet, so we're stepping forward towards the front of our mats. We breathe in, lengthen our arms up and overhead. Breathe out when we swan dive, hinge from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, look forward, monkey pose, hands may or may not hit the floor. Breathe out, relax through head and neck. We could rest our hands onto blocks or textbooks as well. Breathe in, using the power of our legs and our abdominal core to circle sweep our arms to the side. Breathe out, sinking into our chair. Repeat. It's okay to stick with your activated chair if you don't want to move into a forward fold. Breathe out, swan diving forward, forward fold. Breathe in, we're looking forward, monkey. Breathe out, relax through head and neck. Breathe in, we reverse our swan. Breathing out as we sink into our chair. Breathing in, extended mountain. Breathing out, your pace might be faster or slower than mine, and again, that's okay. Breathe in, gaze forward, monkey. Breathe out, relax through head and neck. Breathe in to reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose. Breathe in, we lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathing out, we're swan diving, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we gaze forward, monkey. Breathe out, relax through head and neck. Breathe in as we reverse our swan. Breathing out as we sink into our chair. Last breathe in, lengthen up, extended mountain. Breathing out, we're swan diving into our forward fold. Breathe in, gaze forward, monkey. Breathe out, relax through head and neck. Breathe in as we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose. Finding ourselves getting closer to the floor, down dog. Breathe in, lengthen arms up and overhead. Breathe out, swan diving, hinging from our hips, forward fold. Let's walk, hop, or jump, feet back, downward facing dog. Walk the dog. If you'd rather rest those knees down into a child's pose extended, you're welcome to rest your knees down into your child's pose extended. We have starfish hands. Even weight distribution amongst our fingertips and our palms. We breathe. Possibly resting both knees down to the mat. Quadruped position, hands and knees. Spinal balance, breathing in, breathing out, maybe raise a leg, possibly opposite arm. Breathe in, rest knee and hand down. Breathe out, switch over to the other side. You could alternate your breath pattern there. You can breathe in to lift, breathe out to lower, or breathe out to lift, breathe in to lower. Option to only raise a leg, or to only raise an arm, or perform opposite leg to arm as I am demonstrating. Finding ourselves releasing back down, child's pose extended. Muscle memory of a place we can return to if our bodies need to take a break. We find ourselves stepping 1 foot forward. I'll choose my right. Left knee stays to the mat for our kneeling warrior. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release the hands back down, curling the back toes under. Breathe out, activated runner's lunge, and lower back down. You choose if that back knee taps the mat or not. I choose to not have my knee tap the mat. Possibly sending hands to thigh, maybe biceps by ears. Always breathing. We release our hands back down. We step back, down dog, or child's pose extended. We step our other foot forward, resting knee to the mat of our back leg. Breathe in, kneeling warrior, heart center sky. Breathe out, release the hands back down, curling the back toes under. Breathing out, we lift. Breathe in to lower this knee. Maybe the knee hits the mat, maybe not. Mindful of knee placement for our front leg, knee over ankle or knee behind the ankle as opposed to knee over toes. Potentially hands to our thigh, maybe biceps by ears. We release our hands back down. We step back, down dog or child's pose. Let's breathe into our plank or our modified plank, chest over hands. Breathe out, we return to down dog or child's pose extended. Breathing into our plank, breathing out to our down dog or child's pose. Realizing we can substitute child's pose extended for downward facing dog at any point during our yoga session. If we plank out, eye gaze in front of those hands. If we down dog, eye gaze towards feet. I accept my body and my mind completely in this moment, in this breath. Let's rest our knees down. Child's pose, extended, modified, or regular. We're wrapping our feet around towards the front of our mats, finding ourselves on our backs. Crab walk. Raise one foot and opposite arm. Switch it out. If you're not able to lay on your back, you could return to your quadruped position. Hands and knees, if that's okay for your body. And go back to your spinal balance, raising right leg with left arm, left leg with right arm. If you're on your back, you have the option to rest your leg flat to the mat or bent knee. I prefer resting my leg bent knee to the mat because of my mat or my back issues. Breathing in through the nose, blowing, breathing out through the nose as well. Now you can continue with your crab walk. If you'd like to join me for some abdominal crunches, hands can go to your forehead, behind the head, or crisscross in front of your chest. As we breathe out, we're curling up into a gentle abdominal crunch. Breathing in as we float back to our starting position. To make this more intense, raise those feet off of the mat. I call this the Pilates tabletop. You've got a 90-degree fold here at your hip joint, a 90-degree fold below the knee joint. You can stay here with this choice of abdominal crunches. If you'd like a little bit more oblique work, rest your feet down. Eagle crunches, 90-degree fold at the right elbow joint. Left hand goes underneath. The backs of the hands touch, maybe palms touch. Then your left leg crosses over your right. And breathe out. We curl on up. Breathe in. Float back down. As I float my head back down to the mat, I tap my left or my right toes to the mat. As I breathe out, I raise my right foot off of the mat and try to draw elbows towards knees. Shh. Breathe in through the nose to float back. Blow out through the mouth, through those pursed lips as we curl on up. Visualizing a stronger core center to assist us in our yoga postures. Every breath, we create a stronger core center. Let's release down. And uncross our legs, uncross our arms, 90-degree fold at the left elbow joint, right arm goes underneath, backs of the hands together or palms. Then right leg over left. Breathe out when we curl on up, breathe in when we float back down. As we curl up, my right foot comes off of the mat, drawing elbows towards knees. As I rest my head and shoulders, I tap my left toes back down to the floor. One side might be stronger than the other, and that's okay. Last one, uncrossing our legs. We find ourselves rolling onto our bellies. Once we're here on our bellies, we lift up into a gentle cobra, and then we rest our face back down. Feet as close together as comfort allows. Breathing out when we lift, breathing in when we lower. Keeping our feet anchored to the mat. Let's find ourselves pressing back into a child's pose, extended. Curling our toes under, downward facing dog. We step 1 foot forward, walk our hands to the center of our mats, wide sunflower stance, softening those knees. Using the power of our legs, we breathe in, circle sweep our arms to the sky. Breathing out as we release hands and energy to our heart center. Sun salutations, let's step forward towards the front of our mats. Palms are facing forward, shoulders are relaxed away from our ears. We breathe in, circle sweep our arms to the sky. Breathe out, we swan dive, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we're gazing forward, monkey pose. Breathe out, we step our right foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, we lengthen heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose extended. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank, chest over hands. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, drop the hips, rolling upward facing dog. Breathe out, maybe add your extra push-up, back to down dog, or child's pose extended. We step our right foot forward. Left knee to the mat or not, you decide. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step forward, forward fold. Breathe in, we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose, left side. Breathe in, lengthen up, extended mountain. Breathing out, we're swan diving, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we look forward, monkey pose. Breathe out, we step our left foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, we lengthen heart center sky. Breathing out, releasing our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose extended. Let's breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, roll up dog. Breathe out, back to down dog or child's pose extended. We step our left foot forward. Right knee to the mat or not, you decide. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step forward, forward fold. Breathe in to reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose. Right side. Breathe in, lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathe out, swan diving, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we gaze forward, monkey. Breathe out, we step our right foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose. Maybe left leg kicks up to a 3-legged down dog. we breathe into our plank or modified plank. Breathe out, chaturanga. Better knees to hit the mat than chest or belly. Breathe in, both feet to the mat. Roll up dog. Breathe out, back to down dog or child's pose extended. We step our right foot forward. Breathing in, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing out, releasing our hands as we step forward, forward, forward. Breathe in, we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose, left side. Breathe in, lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathing out, we're swan diving, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we gaze forward, monkey. Breathe out, left foot steps back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, we lengthen, heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back. Down dog or child's pose, maybe right leg kicks up to a three-legged down dog. Let's breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, both feet to the mat, roll up dog. Breathe out, back to down dog or child's pose extended. We step our left foot forward. Breathing in, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathe out, release our hands as we step forward, forward, forward. Breathe in, let's reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose. Breathe in, we lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathing out as we release hands and energy to our heart center. Adding on to our sun salutations, warrior series, standing mountain pose. Let's hang out here for a couple of breaths. Opening up through the chest. The next time we breathe in, let's raise our toes off of the mat. Heels stay resting. The next time we breathe out, we're spreading our toes as wide as possible onto the mat below us. We breathe in, lengthen our arms back up and overhead. Breathe out, we swan dive, hinge from our hips, forward fold. Hanging out in our forward fold for a few breaths. On our next inhalation, let's look forward, monkey pose. Relaxing through head and neck. Finding ourselves stepping our right foot back. Kneeling warrior, crescent lunge, or warrior one. I'm resting my right heel down. Breathe in, lengthening heart center sky for my warrior one. Twisting torso slightly to the left to align shoulders, hips, and belly with the front of our mats. On our next exhalation, warrior two, hands out to the height of our shoulders, sink into low body, expand back with our upper body. Maybe set our eye gaze towards the front of our mats. And breathing. Pressing through the outside of the foot that's closest to the back of our mat. Imagining a friend tugging onto each hand equally. We reverse our warrior, twisting our palm to the sky of our front leg, and we expand waist through rib cage and chest, maintaining a fold in that knee joint that's closest to the front of our mat as well. Returning to our warrior two arms, our warrior two legs. Let's draw elbow to thigh, extended ankle, top fingertips to the ceiling. And breathing, maybe drop this bottom hand to the floor to a textbook or to a block. Maintain the stability of this top shoulder open to the ceiling in our extended angle. We return to our warrior two arms. Let's straighten through our front knee joint. Triangle pose. Breathe in, lean towards the front of our mat, booty towards the back of our mat. Breathe out, dropping our hand For our triangle pose, pressing our hips forward, lengthening up through the tips of our top fingers as we breathe. Releasing top hand down, pyramid pose. Stepping our back foot slightly inward to shorten the gap in between our feet, releasing our heel down, attempting to straighten through this knee joint that's closest to our face. Hands can be on blocks or textbooks. We shift our hips forward and back to determine if one hip placement over another is desirable. We breathe. We find ourselves stepping this foot back, downward facing dog. It's okay to rest in child's pose extended. Slow down upper body flow. Let's breathe into our plank or our modified plank, chest over hands. Breath continuation. The next time we breathe out, slowly chaturanga for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll up dog, tops of the feet to the mat, lengthening ears from shoulders. Returning to down dog or child's pose, maybe add that extra push-up. Let's step our right foot forward. Kneeling warrior, dropping our left knee to the mat. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Release our hands down. Taking this right hand inside the right leg, then underneath the right leg, possibly dropping left elbow and forearm to the mat if flexibility allows. Unwrapping our arms, we step forward, forward, forward. Using the power of our legs, soften those knees, send your hands back behind you for airplane pose. Raise your head up to the height of your tailbone. Imaginary tray of crystal glasses on our backs, possibly straighten those knees to intensify the sensation for your hamstrings. Possibly stay here in your airplane. Maybe tap your left toes back, preparing for warrior 3. It's okay to drop down to all fours, quadruped, and raise left leg and right arm for a spinal balance as a substitute for our warrior 3. Maybe raise our left leg up to the height of our spine. Hands can stay here in airplane. Hands might drop down to the floor. Raising biceps by ears for our full warrior 3 option. Potential chest expansion arms if balance allows. We safely release fingers and toes, forward fold. Using the power of our legs, we breathe in, circle, sweep our arms to the sky. Breathing out, chair pose to complete our extended sun salutation facing the front of our mats. Maybe elevate those heels. Drop your hands to your thighs. Definitely breathe. Possibly elevate biceps by ears. Let's release our heels down. Resting our hands by our sides. Let's turn around and walk back over towards the backs of our mats and work the left side for that extended sun salutation. Standing mountain pose, reconnecting body and mind. As we breathe in, raising our toes off of the mat. If you need your blocks, you can bring them over here to the back of your mat as well. The next time we breathe out, we're resting our toes as wide as possible onto the mat below us. The next time we breathe in, lengthening our arms up and overhead. Breathing out, we swan dive, hinge from our hips. Forward fold, Hanging out here in our forward fold. Breathing. The next time we breathe in, let's find ourselves looking forward, monkey pose. Hang out here in your monkey. The next time we breathe out, relax through head and neck. We step our left foot back. Kneeling warrior, crescent lunge, or warrior one. Warrior one drops the left heel down, folding through the right knee joint. Lengthening heart center, sky. Twisting torso slightly to the right to align hips, shoulder, and belly with the backs of our mats. Sink into low body, expanding back with our upper body, pressing through the outside of our back foot. On our next exhalation, warrior two. Sinking into the knee joint of the leg closest to the back of our mat, reaching back with our upper body. Maintaining our abdominal core engagement. Eye gaze potentially over towards the back of our mat or eye gaze to the side of your mat. Try to promote a balance for your cervical spine. Twisting palm to the sky of the hand that's closest to the back of our mat. Dropping the hand that's closest towards the front of our mat. To that leg, we expand from our waist through our rib cage and our chest in our reverse warrior spirit. We return to our warrior two arms, warrior two legs, extended angle, elbow to thigh, top fingertips to the ceiling, maybe drop the bottom hand to a block, a textbook, or the floor, maintaining the stability of this top shoulder open to the ceiling. We return to our warrior two arms. Preparing for triangle, we straighten through this knee joint. Breathe in, lean towards the back of our mat, booty towards the front of our mat. Breathe out, dropping our hand to thigh, knee, shin, ankle, block, foot, or floor. Press the hips forward towards the side of our mat, lengthen up through the tips of our top fingers, possible eye gaze towards that top hand. Always breathing. Releasing our top hand down, pyramid pose, stepping our feet slightly closer towards each other, trying to keep the knees straightened, the leg that's closest to your face, potentially shifting our hips forward and back. Releasing our hands and stepping back, downward facing dog. Head is near the back of our mat, feet towards the front of our mat. It's okay to rest in child's pose extended as a substitute for our downward facing dog. Upper body flow, breathing into our plank. Let's hang out here for a few more breaths. It's okay to modify knees to the mat. Chaturanga for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll up dog. Tops of the feet to the mat, lengthening ears from shoulders. Breath. Continuation. Down dog. Maybe have that extra push-up, maybe not. We step our left foot forward, resting our right knee to the mat. Kneeling warrior, breathing and lengthening heart center sky. Sinking through the psoas of our right leg, surrendering to our breath, surrendering to the pose. Release our hands down, bring your left hand inside your left leg, then underneath that left leg, possibly dropping right elbow and forearm to the mat. Sending positive healing exhalations to whichever area of our body currently feels sensation. We unwrap our arms. We step our right foot forward, forward, forward. Softening our knees, airplane arms, palms face the floor, raise the head up to the height of your tailbone, possibly straighten through the knees. We could stay here in our airplane. We could tap our right toes back, potentially raising our right foot up to the height of our spine. We can drop to our quadruped and raise right leg and left arm for our spinal balance as a substitute to our warrior three. Hands can stay in airplane, or hands can drop to the floor, raising biceps by ears for our full warrior three option. Potentially chest expansion arms if we would like this option. We gently release fingers and toes, forward fold facing the backs of our mats. Using the power of our legs, we breathe in, circle sweep our arms to the sky. Breathing out as we release our hands and our energy to our heart center. Preparing for a standing eagle pose. Options to just perform the legs or just perform the arms. Beginning with the arms, we'll take our right elbow a 90-degree fold. Left arm goes underneath either backs of the hands together or palms together. Now we can just stay here. If you have shoulder issues, you may want to just eliminate the arms here. Moving into sending our left knee towards the back of our mat for a triangle pose. And you can raise that left leg up. But the other option is to wrap that left foot around the right leg, crossing it over and folding through the right knee joint. Another option, slightly elevate those elbows as we balance strong eagle spirit. Let's uncross and try the other side. A 90-degree fold at the left elbow joint. Right arm goes underneath either backs of the hands together or palms. Left leg stays to the floor. Right knee can go into a triangle. Right foot to a triangle. Maybe raise that right foot and wrap it around the left leg. Folding into the left knee joint. Maybe elevating elbows ever so slightly. Always breathing. Unwrap. Standing mountain pose, hopefully achieving a balance between the right and the left sides of our bodies. We breathe and lengthen both arms up and overhead, clasping our hands together, point our fingers to the sky, choose a side. Breathe out, laterally flex to one side, potentially sending our eye gaze to the sky. The next time we breathe in, we return to center. The next time we breathe out, we laterally flex to the opposite side. The next time we breathe in, we return to center. Breathing out, releasing hands and energy to our heart center. Let's breathe and lengthen those arms back up and overhead. Breathe out, we're swan diving, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. We walk, hop, or jump, feet back, downward facing dog. Preparing for a pigeon pose, having the option to lay on our backs and perform a modified pigeon pose if we so desire. Let's raise our right knee high up towards the ceiling, three-legged down dog. Sweeping our right knee up towards our face and resting our right foot over to the left side of our mat, dropping onto our left leg. We can stay here or we can release elbows and forearms to our mat. We can stay here in our pigeon. If we'd like to move into screaming pigeon, hands underneath shoulders. We fold through our left knee joint, possibly sending a hand or both hands towards this left foot, drawing our left heel towards our booty. So instead of a word of the day, ask you a question. What would be your dream vehicle? It might be a car, but maybe it's a motorcycle, maybe it's a bicycle, maybe your dream mode of transportation. That's what I'll say. What's your dream mode of transportation? It could be a boat, a jet. And then why? Why would that be your dream mode of transportation? So it could be something that is non-existent as well. Let's release. And we step back. Regular down dog or child's pose extended. If you're laying on your back, just get ready to transition to the other side. We raise our left knee high up towards the sky, three-legged down dog. Sweeping this knee up towards our chest, resting this foot over to the left side of our mat, dropping onto our right leg. We can stay upright or we can surrender, elbows and forearms to the mat. And if you want to move into your screaming pigeon, hands underneath shoulders, fold through that right knee and send one hand or both hands to this foot. And again, instead of a word of the day, a question. Answer me this. What would be your most ideal mode of transportation? So, if there's a dream car or a motorcycle, boat, jet ski, I don't know, you might have that could be next class's question. Where would you ideally want to live? I'll think about it. We carefully release, hands back underneath our shoulders, downward facing dog, or child's pose extended. Resting our knees to the mat. Brief return to one breath, one movement for our cat-cow. As we breathe out, we're rounding into our beautiful cat. As we breathe in, we're arching into our beautiful cow. Breathing out and breathing in. One breath, one movement. Our pace might be slower than initially when we started our session. Body and mind working together. Breath and movement matching. Let's find ourselves in a seated position, wrapping our feet around towards the front of our mats. Forward fold, breathe in, lengthening arms to the sky. Breathe out, hinge from the hips, hands can rest at thighs, knees, shins, ankles, feet. or floor. If you have the assistance of a strap that you'd like to place around the arches of your feet, you may select that strap, surrendering upper body over lower body. The next time we breathe in, let's look forward, monkey pose. The next time we breathe out, relaxing through head and neck. We're releasing the hold of our feet, returning to a seated position, finding ourselves on our backs. Bridge pose. If we're able to, hands rest by our sides, elevating our hips off of our mat. We can stay here in our bridge, or if we'd like to go into an inversion, we're welcome to go into an inversion. Plenty of reasons to not do an inversion: pregnancy, menstrual cycle, high blood pressure, sinus issues, headaches, anything of that nature. Lay off of the plow or the shoulder stand. If you want to join me for the plow or the shoulder stand, rest the butt down, raise your legs up. You can use your hands to support your low back. And attempting to roll. Neck issues would be another reason to not do, or back issues, to not do our plow or shoulder stand. Now, I'm a little inflexible today, so my feet aren't able to hit the floor behind me. Keep your head stationary. Shoulder stand would send those feet up towards the ceiling. My knees are directly above my face. On this shoulder stand, we can open our legs out sideways, or maybe one goes towards our face, one goes to the ceiling, scissoring the legs. You can just keep those legs stationary as well. Basically, we consider our inversions a cleansing of our internal organs. We breathe. We're gently releasing from our inversion. Easier on the low back to bend those knees, more challenging to keep the knees straight, keep the head and shoulders in connection with the mat. When we release our tailbone back down, we can bend those knees and hug them in towards our chest, possibly rocking side to side to promote a nice low back massage. Fish pose to counter our inversion. Hands underneath our booties, palms face the floor. You can have straight legs, you can have butterfly legs. Whatever you'd like. We're lifting our head off of the mat by pressing into our elbows and our forearms. Our back came off of the mat, our head came off of the mat. Now our spine is off of the mat, but we're going to drop our head back if our neck muscles allow us to, and rest our head to our block or our textbook or the floor, depending on our flexibility. Now, if you have straight legs, you also have the option to slightly raise your feet about 6 inches off the floor. This is a lot of strain for the low back, but if you feel strong enough to attempt this, go for it, but respect what that spine is telling you as far as thank you or no thank you. It's challenging to find your breath here in fish pose as well, so attempting to breathe out as much as we breathe in. And let's release. Straightening our legs forward. Twisting our palms to face the sky. Preparing to move through some muscle tightening before we enter final relaxation. Curling those toes downward, tightening the muscles up through the arches of our feet, into our heels, tightening those muscles up into the calves, the knees, the quadriceps, the gluteal muscles, tightening around the pelvis, into the abdominals, tightening up through the rib cage and the chest, moving into the biceps, folding elbows, fists, holding on, tightening, clenching through the jaw, and feeling every single muscle cramping myself. Now let's soften, beginning from those toes, relaxing through the arches and the tops of our feet, relaxing through the ankles, softening through the calves and the shins, softening through the knees, relaxing through the quadriceps, the hamstrings, relaxing up into the abdominals, moving into the rib cage, up into those shoulder blades, relaxing down into those biceps and triceps, softening through our inner elbows, releasing the wrist tension, releasing the clenching of the fists, relaxing through the jaw. The eyes can remain closed, but just gently closed instead of tightly shut as they may have been before. It's also acceptable to have your eyes open. While you're in final relaxation, if you prefer to lay on a side in a fetal position, you may. If you're on your back and you prefer to bend your knees, whether you have butterfly legs or knees nodding inward, you may as well. Possibly scooting up to a wall and sending your feet up against that wall. Maybe rolling onto your belly if you feel you might be more relaxed in a prone position. This is your time to breathe. This is your time to feel. If a thought comes to mind, allow your exhalation to erase it. hands gently roll over onto one side, returning to a fetal position, allowing our bottom arm to serve as our pillow, allowing our knees to fold up towards our chest, possibly wiggling fingers and toes to help reawaken our body. We gently press ourselves up, returning to a seated position, allowing our left ear to dip over towards our left shoulder, lengthening the muscles on the side of our neck. Let's return to center, dipping our left ear towards our left shoulder, or the opposite side. I can't even remember what I said. And let's return to center, switching the cross of your applesauce. We breathe in, lengthen our arms up and overhead. Breathing out as we release our hands and our energy to our heart center. Thank you for taking the time to join me today. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.